So today we are looking at the RegataOS 24.08. So here is the boot menu. So let me quickly boot it in the live boot. So RegataOS is a Brazilian Linux. If you don't know, it's from the Brazil. And also it's based on openSUSE Linux. It's mainly focused on the gaming and also for the desktop. So you get the KDE Plasma desktop environment out of the box, or the main desktop environment. And also it has the RegataOS store for installing applications and games and all those things. So I'm running it on the virtual machine right now. So I'm going to mention all the system requirements. Like you need to have this much of system requirements to run the RegataOS 24. So you need to have like a 2 GHz dual core processor, which is 64-bit, and also it's better if you have higher one. And also you need to have like a 4 GB of RAM, and with the 30 GB of free hard disk, and USB port for the installer media. And the root password for the RegataOS is Regata, which is REGATA, which is all in a small cap, which is small letters. So the booting process will take like 2 or 3 minutes. Usually the Linux distro will take like 2 to 3 minutes in my PC. So let's try to wait. And also my virtual machine specs are, I am using like a 60 GB of virtual disk, and my CPU is i5 1240p with 8 GB of RAM. So RegataOS is RegataOS store is for the installing applications and games out of the box, integration with the Google Drive, and also support for a gaming mode via the Vulkan Graphics API. And an extensive library of games in the RegataOS Game Access is also available, or the Game Access portal support is also available. So the desktop environment mainly is only the KDE Plasma desktop environment. You don't get any other desktop environment. So you need to, if you're not a fan of KDE Plasma desktop environment, then I don't know what to say, because this only runs on the KDE Plasma desktop environment. And it's mainly used for the gaming. Most of the people who love the Linux distro gaming will be using, I think they will be using RegataOS. I don't know properly. I'm blindly saying, I'm just guessing it. So the RegataOS is just for, it has like a game store and all those things. I already made a lot of videos in the previous. So if you want to check that out, you can check it out in my channel. So it's almost like 2-3 minutes to take the booting process. So still we are seeing the mouse pointer here. So I hope it's going to boot up. As you can see, we have some wallpaper. Right now we are seeing the date and time, and in the bottom you can see the RegataOS 24. So the code name should be something like Arctic for the 24 version. So this version is 24.08, which is the latest version, and the code name for the RegataOS 24 is the Arctic Fox. So you need to have a good end PC, not the best, but at least better than the low end PC, because you need to have like a 2 GHz or more processor, dual core processor, and 4 GB of RAM, which I already mentioned, 30 GB of hard disk. So in my opinion, they say this much of specs, but you need to have like a 4 GB of RAM, it's okay, and dual core, that's also okay. But the hard disk space, you need to have like at least a 50 GB in 2024. They are going to say like a 30 GB. So these are the system requirements. They are saying like you need to have like a 30 GB, but when you try it in the live, so it's going to need like a 50 GB of hard disk to run everything. And if you want to save anything, you need to have that much of space. So they didn't mention any about the information about the monitor. So you need to have any type of monitor, I guess. So most of the cases in the 2024, you need to have at least like a 1366 into 768 monitor. But if you want to still try it, you can try it on your own. And as you can see, we are seeing the desktop layout right now. So it completely loaded when we are talking. So let's open the system monitor, and I'm going to say how this is working. It's kind of looking like smooth, but let's try it. So let's open the system monitor. So here is our system monitor, and before changing the display settings, I'm going to show you every hardware specs, like applications running and all the resources. So overview, it's consuming a 1.2 GB of RAM, which is pretty much good. It's not a low-end PC. It's not for the low-end PC. They already mentioned you need to have like a 2 GHz dual-core processor. So it's consuming 1.2 GB, and also this is the live boot, and I'm running it on the RAM. You need to understand everything like those things like a virtual machine, and after seeing all those things, you decide whether to use this Linux distro or not. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to say my final thoughts at the end of the video. So here is the RAM, and the CPU is pretty much unstable because the KDE Plasma version, I already mentioned, this version 6 point version is always had issue with the CPU. It's going to be not stable throughout the video. It's going to be going to almost 95%, and it's going to be down to 5%. It will, you can see throughout the video, I'm going to keep it in the right side corner. So you should be seeing all those fluctuation throughout the video, because I made a lot of videos of a KDE Plasma version of this one, and every Linux distro with a KDE Plasma version with 6.1 should be having this issue. I'm going to show you. So before that, let's first see all the version. So already mentioned that the code name for the RegataOS 24 is the Arctic Fox. The KDE Plasma version is a 6.1.4, and the frameworks version you get is a 6.5.0, and the Qt version is 6.7.2. So you get most of the things, all the things are here latest. So let's check the about KDE and about the system monitor. So you should be seeing 6.1.4 version. So under the applications, these are all the applications running as soon as you boot up. So I didn't even touch anything, even the display settings, I didn't touch anything. So you should be seeing everything, the base resources consuming. So right now process, let's wait, it's pretty much loading still. So these are all the processes running right now. So as you can see, these are all the things running, and now I'm going to change the display settings because we saw everything. So my monitor is 1920 into 1080. So I have all the hardware specs they needed, so I am more than the system requirements. So let's see how it performs after having all the resources. And also you need to understand that I'm running it on a virtual machine. So most of the other desktop environment with the Linux distro will be running here without any issues, but you should be seeing some issues here because of the KDE Plasma version. I didn't even touch anything. As you can see, the CPU is pretty much going up to 40% and coming back to 10% like that. So that's the issue I mentioned. So let's open the browser. And also about the release notes, if they didn't give any release notes, I'm going to give every information in the description. You don't need to worry about anything. So we have the default browser of the Firefox. Let's see we get any latest version of Firefox. So usually Firefox will take like a 15 seconds maximum in every Linux distro. But let's see how it performs in the RegataOS. And as you can see, the CPU is pretty much fluctuating like a crazy. It's going up to 100% just for the Firefox web browser in the background, and still nothing is happening. So we have our Firefox as soon as we said that. So let's make it bigger so everything should be visible properly. So as you can see, there is like a major hiccup here and there because of the CPU. It's fluctuating because of CPU fluctuation. The browser is also, the animation is a bit of like glitchy. Let's check the version. You can assume that the animation, as you can see, the animation is pretty much not smooth. You don't get any smooth experience because of the CPU consumption. So it went up to 1.8 GB RAM. So the version you get is the latest version, which is 129.0.1 is the browser version. So let me type in first about support. So here is the about support information, like a version. Here is the build ID. So let's scroll it down and get other information like a Linux kernel, which I already mentioned. So here is the user agent. If you want the user agent, here is it. And operating system theme is a Brisa Advaita. So here is the RAM, which I already mentioned. I'm using a 8 GB of RAM for the virtual machine. Here is the disk space available, which is 3.7 GB. When you scroll it down, you should be seeing some additional information like a picture-in-picture version and other information. So if you consider it as important, you just need to pause the video and read everything here. So if you don't want, you can just skip this part. So here is the other information, and let's scroll it down and find some more information. So the window protocol is X11. As you can see, the desktop environment is a KDE, and my monitor will be 1920 into 1080. Let me show you that. So here is my monitor resolution. So these are some of the important information in my point of view, but if it's not, you can just skip this part. So here is all the information. So let's try to type the search term as the RegataOS. Regata. As you can see, it's RegataOS. So if you want to download the official website, you need to click on this link, which is here is the URL, which is a Brazil URL. So I hope we see any English language here, but it says as .com.br. So we need to find, so it's pretty much English, so we don't need to worry about it. I downloaded the ISO file from the source code, so that's the reason I didn't see the official website. So here is some of the information. So I already made a lot of videos on this RegataOS in my channel, but I don't really remember because I'll be making 2 videos daily without missing. So it's pretty much very hard to remember anything because I covered like a 3000 videos. It's pretty much a normal human being can't remember, but if he remember, he is a god then. So the code name for the RegataOS 24 is Arctic Fox, which I already mentioned, and this is the 0.08 update, which is 24.08 update, or the latest ISO file. So here is a small or the few description of the Linux distro of the RegataOS. So you get all the information right here. You can just get the information first here and then go with the trying. So here you got all the information. Let's go to the news. So there should be no news because usually the RegataOS doesn't provide any of the point update version release notes, but I'm going to give every information in the description. So GB hard disk and a USB port for the installer media, and here is the password for the root password. So let's now download the RegataOS here. So let's click on RegataOS. So here you can have the options of SourceForge and the torrent. So this is the simple RegataOS, which is Intel, and this is for the NVIDIA drivers. So I downloaded the normal one. So I'm going to click on the SourceForge. So you should be seeing all the files here. So it automatically tries to download. So I'm going to remove this URL and just keep until the files. So it didn't work. So let me do it again. So you need to remove like this, or else you can just click here RegataOS. I'm going to show you that also. So this is the RegataOS file. Here is the summary or the link. You can directly go to the SourceForge. Let me show you. So you just need to type in SourceForge in the search engine, or else you can just type in sourceforge.net, and here you need to type in RegataOS, RegataOS. So here you can see the project. So here you can see the RegataOS. Just scroll it down. Here is the additional information. If you want, you can read it. When you scroll it down, you should be seeing the project activity, as you can see here. So the released version 1 week ago. So here is the NVIDIA one. Here is the Brazilian language. Here is the Intel United States one. So you should be seeing all those things. So go to the files. So it's taking a bit of time, and go to the version 24, which is RegataOS 24, and also check the date. And here you should be seeing the files, which are 3 files. So these are all the 3 files. So here you can see the most downloaded, the version is the English United States, which is the Intel one, not the NVIDIA one. So I downloaded this ISO file, which is 3.7 GB. If you want the Brazilian language, you can go with the Brazilian language, and here is the NVIDIA one. So I'm going to choose the normal one, which is United States. and it should take like a 5 seconds, and it should be downloading the ISO file here. And if you want to go with the torrents, you can go with the torrents. As you can see, here is the ISO files trying to download. So we got all the information from the browser, so I'm going to close the browser. So let me open the terminal. Let me go to the applications. So the basic changes are from the applications and some other changes, so you don't get any big features or anything. You just get the updates from this version. So there is no major update other than some applications update and all those things. I'm going to provide every information in the description, but I'm going to show everything in the video because I don't want to leave anything. So the version you get is at 24.05.2. So let's try the NeoFetch first. NeoFetch. So it says command not found. INXI. So here you should be seeing my CPU, which is a 12th gen i5 1240p, which I already mentioned. So the Linux kernel 6.10.4. So the latest version available Linux kernel is 6.10.6 in the official website, but you get the 6.10.4 here. So just the 0.2 updates below, and also 60 GB of a virtual disk, which I already mentioned in the beginning. Processors running right now are 248, and the INXI version is 3.3.23. So let me type in another command, which is INXI -b. So you should be seeing some additional information. So distro, it says as RegataOS 24. So the KDE Plasma version is 6.1.4. So it's a 64-bit ISO file. So machine, here is my virtual machine. So you don't need to worry about the virtual machine, just ignore it. Here is the CPU information. And also you should be getting the disk graphics information. The VMWGFX version is 2.20.0. So the display is X11, server is x.org, version 21.1.12. XVLAN version is 24.1.1. And here is my display resolution, which I already mentioned in the beginning. And the API OpenGL version 4.3, Mesa is 24.1.5. And here is some of the network information. If you consider it as important, you can just read it, or else just skip that part. 60 GB of virtual disk already mentioned. Processors 249 running. Uptime is almost 17 minutes. Memory 8 GB of RAM, and using is 1.55 GB. As you can see, it's 1.6 GB. And INXI version already mentioned. So let me type in INXI -F. And you should be seeing some additional information added here. So these are all the things which I already mentioned. Machine already mentioned, CPU mentioned. Here is the audio information. Pipewire version you get is a 1.2.2, and also some other information, the network information. Here are the partitions, and these are all the information which I already mentioned. So I am far from the monitor, so I can't properly see, but everything is already mentioned. So let me type in INXI -G. You should be seeing some graphics information. So these are all the things which I already mentioned here. So nothing to say here. Let me type in cat /etc/issue. So it says no such file or director. So directory, let me type in again, cat /etc/issue. So again it says as no such file or a directory. I'm going to type in INXI -SV8. So this is the command which will grab complete distro information. You can type in just like this command, or else you can separately type the same things like INXI-F, B and G and all those things, or else you can just type in INXI-SV8 to get all the information in the single command. So let me find that command where I typed. So here is the complete information. So here is my command, which is inxi-sv8. So host, it says local domain instead of the distro name. Kernel version already mentioned. So GCC compiler GCC version is 13.2.1. Here is some other information. If you consider reading, you can read it. KDE Plasma version, here it is. And the distro, it says as RegataOS 24. So we don't get any other information other than these things. Let me scroll it down. Here is the machine information, which I already mentioned to ignore. And here is the CPU information. So there will be some additional information added in between, so you just need to pause the video and read everything, because I almost covered everything, but if I forget anything, just read it on your own. So here is the XORG, which I already mentioned, Kevin, XVLAN, and here is the available monitor resolutions. OpenGL version, which I already mentioned, here is the version. So let's scroll it down, and here is the audio information, like a Pulse audio version is a 17.0. ELSA version is right here. And these are all some Bluetooth network and all the information. I don't consider it as important, but if you want to read it, you can read it, because I don't have any Bluetooth installed, so it says no Bluetooth found, so that's the reason. So here are the repos. If you want to read, you can read it. So when you scroll it down, you should be seeing the other information, like shell bash version 4.4.23 in the bottom. GCC version already mentioned. Process 251, uptime is almost 20 minutes, wake ups 264, init system D version 249. So I'm going to click on HStop, hit enter. So it says command not found. So let me close it. So now let's go to the installation. So let me double click the installation. So the installation process will be same, because it has the Calamares installer. And also most of the Linux distro will be having 90% of the Linux distro will be having same installer, so there is nothing complicated here. But I'm going to show you some basic things, but I'm not going to install anything here. So the Calamares installer version you get is a 3.3.5 for RegataOS 24 Arctic Fox. First you need to choose your language. There are not multiple, there are a lot of languages available here. Choose the language, click on next. Choose the partition. First you need to choose your hard disk, whether it's a virtual disk or whatever it is. Choose the specific hard disk if you have multiple hard disks. And the erase disk option is like it's going to delete everything of that specific installation drive, and it's going to install the RegataOS as a single boot in those in that specific drive. And the manual partitioning is the option, like you need to create a partition before choosing this option, and the partition will be available right here. And you can install it on here on the that partition. And also you should be seeing the dual boot options in the boot menu, or the dual operating systems in the boot menu. So that's the operating system installation. So if you don't know what I'm talking, but if you're a newcomer or new for the Linux, you need to watch tutorials in the YouTube. There are like a short videos, like a 2 or 3 minutes videos of installation, just the installation tutorial. So you should be good with the installation. I have the tutorials, but I never made a specific installation tutorial of Linux distros in my channel, because I will be covering almost everything in that video. So I never made a specific video for the installation. But if you want to watch my channel, you can check it, but I don't really remember in which video I installed on the bare metal or on the virtual disk. So that's the reason it's better to watch some other channels, like a watch like a short videos, like a 2-3 minutes videos, and you should be good with the installation, because there is nothing complicated in the installation of Linux. So if you want to encrypt your system, you can do that. And this is the current drive, and after the installing it will be like this. And for the bootloader location, here you should be seeing 3 options, like a master boot record for the VMware virtual for the specific drive, and the system partition, and do not install a bootloader. So if you watch the tutorial, then you should be good with the installation. So when you click on next, here is the summary of whatever you chose in the previous installation. So that will be here. And also when you click on install, it's going to take like a 20-25 minutes. If you have like a good NPC, you should be good with the very speed. So it should be taking like a 10-15 minutes. So if you have like a low NPC, it should be taking like a 20-25 minutes. And also it also depends on the stable ISO file. If the ISO file is stable, then the ISO installation will be very quick and without any fail it's going to be installed. But if you downloaded the unstable version like a beta version or the development version, then sometimes there will be a case like a installation getting failed or like it will be frozen on the screen. So always download and install the stable version. And also you can try it in the virtual machines. If you have downloaded the beta version or development version, you can always try it in the virtual machines because you can always delete the virtual disk. So that was the installation process. I'm not going to install because I don't want to. So we pretty much showed every things available in the RegataOS, but let's check some other features like desktop features. So you get the Plasma desktop environment, so there is nothing different or any complicated things here. Papers available, I think. So this is the RegataOS wallpaper. So usually KDE Plasma wallpapers are totally different, you already know. So here are the KDE Plasma desktop wallpapers. The other one is Mountain, K and Honeycomb. And also the Scarlet Tree. So the RegataOS, here is the one. And Apollo, Challenger, Discovery should be also the from the RegataOS. So I'm going to keep it like this because it looks kind of like a Windows 11 wallpaper. So about version is here. So let's see what are the applications you get in the RegataOS pre-installed. So these are all the pre-installed applications you get from the RegataOS. So here is the store which I was mentioning in the beginning. So you get the RegataOS store and also RegataOS game access. So I'm going to open two applications because those are the important things of the RegataOS. So this Linux distro is considered as a gaming Linux distro, but in my point of view, I don't think, because of the KDE Plasma version, as you can see, because of the CPU. So if we had some older version of KDE Plasma or the without any issues with the CPU, then the games will be running properly. I don't know how it performs in the bare metal, but I tried the KDE Plasma 6.1 version on the bare metal. It was same bit of consuming a lot of CPU. Even if I have the latest hardware specs, I still have the issues. So if you want to try it, you can try it on your own and let me know in the comment section because it will help others too. So I don't think it's going to open anything because as you can see the CPU went completely 100% and RAM went up to 2 GB. On the RAM side it's pretty much okay for me, but the CPU is pretty much totally going unstable. So it's completely fixed on the 100%, just opening the basic applications like the RegataOS store and the game access. So there is nothing opening in the background still, so I don't think how much of time it's going to take. So let's check all the applications. Hope it's going to open sometime. So these are all the applications you get from the RegataOS. There is also Steam available. So somehow all the main applications opened. So let's find other applications. So these are all the applications you get. So I don't think there is nothing to show here because there is only Office and also the Steam and the software repositories. So you don't get any applications. In order to install any applications, you can download it from this available things. So here you can install the applications like a Chrome, Bottle, Wine Bottle and all those things, Thunderbird if you want anything here. And here is the game access. If you want to game, you can log into your accounts and use and try this Linux distros. I never had anything other than the Rockstar launcher because I always play GTA 5, but I can't use on this Linux distro. If you want, you can try it and decide whether if you want to install it on your main PC or work PC. Always try it in the live boot first. Then if it's the CPU and all those things are working properly, then go with the installation. Only if you satisfied. Don't just watch my video and try to install. Try to watch every other videos and try to search everything on your own about this Linux distro. And if you decide to install it on your main PC or work PC, always get all the information on your own, then install it on your PC. So my final thoughts are like CPU is consuming a lot of resources because of the KDE Plasma version. So I can't say anything because of that thing only, as you can see in the background. So this is the issue. I can't say anything about this Linux distro because of the CPU. Even a small lag is major. It's going to be major because of opening some basic applications. So there is an issue with the KDE Plasma version 6. Version. So that's the reason I can't say anything. It's clearly up to you. If it's working properly on your PC, make sure to try it, this Linux distro. But if you have the same issues, then try to ignore this version until we get some stable version of the KDE Plasma. Whether they fix it or not, I don't know, but it's better to stay away if you have the same issues, because you can't even open the applications. And where you going to play these games if it's almost 100% already? So here are some gaming access. You can create account. If you already have an account, install it and try it on your own. So here is all the games. So here you have all the games. You should be available with the complete main games like AAA games and all those things. Like you already have the Battlefield. EA app is also available, Epic Game Stores, and also the Rockstar Launcher. So main games are already available here. So it's clearly up to you to test or not. So I'm going to close this application, and here is the RegataOS store. You can click on the applications and you should be seeing the installation here, and here is the information. Just scroll it down, you should be seeing the screenshot and some reviews, and also I think there will be some version or something like that. So right now there is no version about the Chrome, so there is nothing here. So there is a short description, but there is no version. Let's try to open other applications and see whether we have the same thing here. Let me open the Thunderbird. So again, same thing, you should be seeing the version here. So at least you have the version here. And here is the Thunderbird screenshot. Here are some reviews. And if you want, you can install it here. So the installed applications will be right here. So Firefox is installed, Kate, and the OnlyOffice, Ockler, SC Controller, Steam, and VLC Media Player. So this is a complete gaming Linux distro. If you want to try it, you can try it. Some of my viewers were asking like you make a video on the gaming Linux distros. So do let me know in the comment section. Recommend me any type of gaming Linux distros, which I already made a lot of videos of the gaming Linux distros. But if you still want any other Linux distros of a gaming Linux distros, do let me know in the comment section. I'm going to make a video on it, but I don't think I'm going to play anything there. So if you still want to see it, do let me know in the comment section. But if you don't want, if you only want the gaming, then it's better to watch some other videos, because I'm not going to make a gaming, because I will be running most of the time on the virtual machines. So it will be pretty much unfair to say anything about gaming there. So at the end of the video, these are all the applications and hardware specs. So CPU throughout the video was unstable. So if you want to try it, you can try it on your own. If you tried, let me know in the comment section, and tell me whether you used it in bare metal or like a virtual machine or live boot. So at the end of the video, it's a 1.9 GB. CPU is pretty much 30-40%. It's pretty much unstable. So I'm going to show you the logout screen and I'm going to end the video. So again, there are some things here, so I don't think it's important, like a file manager and all those things. So you should be getting the latest applications, however. So there is nothing to show here. Then I'm going to show you the logout screen. Let me show you the logout screen. So it should take a few seconds and you should be seeing the logout screen. Let's see whether we have any other desktop sessions other than Plasma X11. So here is the VLAN and the password is Regata. Let me try it. Let me choose the virtual keyboard. REGATA. I hope the password works. No, it doesn't work. So let's try the live. So it didn't even work. I see it's a visit entry. Let's try this one. So it doesn't work. So let's see the password. So it didn't even work. So Regata, same thing. Live user. So the passwords are not working. I don't know what is the password, but let's see the. So there is no password. You need to just click on the enter. I thought there will be some password, but there is no password. So there is no password. You just need to click on the enter and you should. Let me show you. First it was like a X11. Let me type in about support, and here is the window protocol. As you can see, it's a VLAN. So you should be getting 2 sessions here. So I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for watching. Peace out. So there is already video available in the morning. So if you want, you can check that video also.